How does one find meaning in this day and age? I believe it is by listening to one's internal guidance system that nature has provided each and every one of us with. I believe there is something inside of you that knows you better than you do. And once we start listening to that, meaning is a byproduct. Meaning is a consequence of what happens when we listen to this internal guidance system. Now, I think there's some very important things to know about listening to this internal guidance system. And it is that it is trying to push you towards meaning. It is trying to give you a fulfilled life, a purposeful existence. And I believe that is all anyone truly wants. People act as if they want money. People act as if they want fame. People act as if they want material possessions. But truly, I believe it's all in a blind pursuit of meaning, but they don't realize what they truly want is meaning. There's a Friedrich Nietzsche quote, and it is, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." And I know that part verbatim, but the latter part of that quote goes along the lines of, I think, no one no one searches for happiness. Only the Englishman wants to be happy. And to me, that just means meaning, having a why is so much important than being quote unquote happy. Because if you have a strong enough why, anything can be bared. Anything. And that is what your soul, your internal compass, that voice in your head, the still small voice is trying to guide you towards. And if you take on the pursuit of listening to this, there are some things you need to know. Because it isn't a guidance system towards money, towards fame, towards any of the external things that you may yearn for. It isn't any of those. So if you start listening to that, and in the hopes of gaining money, fame, external possessions, then you're going to be disappointed. And you're going to lose your way. Because you're not going to understand that the thing that you were listening to wasn't something that was trying to get you money. And money is just a thing. It is neither good nor bad. But it brings out, I think, who people truly are. A Stoic, Musonius Rufus, once said something along the lines of, or he once gave a man money, a bad man money, and his students asked him why. They said, that man cheats, that man steals, that man's, all these things. Why in the world would you give him money? And Musonius Rufus said, if all these things are true, money is what he deserves. Because if you are a person of that nature, money won't improve your life. It will diminish your life. But if you are a person of high moral virtue, excellence, then money will just bring more of that out in you. It will just bring that to the surface. But it gives no meaning. It's just a thing. It's neither good nor bad. It just brings out more of who you truly are. And that is not something that your internal guidance system knows how to guide you towards. Because it doesn't give meaning, it doesn't give purpose. It just shows more of who you truly are. So if you're yearning for that, and you're listening to your heart, then you're doing the wrong thing. Well, I think you're doing the right thing, but your head's in the wrong place. And you won't even be able to see or feel all the meaning and purpose you have in your life because you'd be so blinded by the fact that you don't have money, that you don't have fame. But truly, meaning is what matters. Having a strong enough why, having purpose can get one through anything. And as I said in the beginning of this video, there is something inside of you that knows you better than you know you. And your life will change once you start listening to that thing. And in my opinion, that inside of you is what the Stoics mean when they say living in accordance with your nature. It's that thing inside of you that's telling you what to do. You have to live in accordance with that. And Marcus Aurelius has a quote at the first passage of book 5 where he says, "You don't love yourself enough, or you would be running to do what your nature demands of you." And that is something that has haunted me in a constructive way. I think about that constantly because there's things in my life that I know I should be doing. I know my internal, my soul, whatever you want to call it, is yearning for it. And if I don't do it, I remind myself that just means I don't love myself enough. Or I would be running to do what my nature demands of me. I would be running to satisfy my internal guidance system because that is truly how you show yourself self-love. Doing that which you know you must do, walking your own path, living life so deeply and so fully that the impermanence of our existence doesn't even faze you. Having so much meaning, having such a strong why that you can bear almost anyhow. That is where we should be directing our strength towards. And that is what we should be doing. And when you don't listen, the unlived life will make you ill. The unlived existence will haunt you the rest of your life. You will ask yourself constantly, why didn't I just go for it? Why didn't I just trust myself? Why didn't I just listen? And I think this concept in many different ways is presented in many different philosophies and philosophers and what they say. In some way it's, the having self-reliance, like Ralph Waldo Emerson talks about, trusting thyself, listening to the internal and knowing that this is the wrong path for me. This may not be the wrong path, but this is the wrong path for me. And that's all that matters. And understanding that you're not here to fit in. You're here to be who you are. You're here to become that which you know you must be. And there's something inside of you that knows what that is better than you do. And the question is if you're going to listen to it or not. If you're going to trust thyself. And in trusting thyself, you can come to know thyself. But like I said, many philosophers, I believe, come to this. Ralph Waldo Emerson with self-reliance. Friedrich Nietzsche, I believe, would say similar things. And I believe, the Stoics have it with living in accordance with your nature. And Socrates did the same thing when he was put on trial for death. He used to once say that there was something inside of him that never told him what to do, but it told him what not to do. And it told him not to flee death. It told him not to flee his execution, even though he was wrongly accused and probably the most virtuous, just man in Athens. Something inside of him told him, no, don't run, endure this. And he listened to it. And who knows, if Socrates didn't die the way he did, there may have never been a Plato. And if there's no Plato, there's no Aristotle. And if there's no Aristotle, there's no, there's no Cynics, there's no Epicureans, there's no Stoics, there's no philosophy potentially. Without that one decision for a man to listen to what his heart is telling him, to walk his own path, to understand that walking one's own path is the most important thing one can do. And that's why I believe it's very powerful to be able to be alone, to be able to embrace solitude, to be able to be a vagabond. Because in walking your own path, it will probably be lonely. There will probably be few people on the path with you. But it's so much better than walking a crowded path, but having that feeling inside that you missed your turn years ago. That turn you knew you should take, that you knew you should have took, but saw no one on, and you just saw everyone else walking this way. You decided to just follow the crowd. And in a crowd, the individual's consciousness, the individual conscience is lessened. Say if there's one person that's 100% conscious, but if you're in a crowd of 10 people, then that diminishes to 10% each. And then, that's why they say, people are smart, but peoples are stupid. Because the crowd they think like a herd animal. They're not, it's dangerous to be part of a crowd. I think Douglas Murray has a book called Beware of the Crowd, or Beware of the Mob, or something of that nature, but just basically talks about how dangerous it can be to be in a crowd, in a mob, and how you just do things you would never do, but you do them because so many others are doing them. And we have to be very careful of that in this day and age. And if you do that and you deny something inside of you, what is yearning for, then I don't think you'll be able to live a meaningful life. No matter how much you have to be grateful for, there will still be something telling you that you messed up, that you did something wrong. And that's a horrible feeling, because then you feel almost selfish, because you have so much to be grateful for. You have so much to enjoy, you have so much to love, you have so many reasons to be happy, but you can't be. And that can destroy you, make you feel ungrateful, even though you are grateful, but you just denied yourself something that was more important than anything else. You will truly become ill from the unlived life. And only you know what that is for you. And only you know what your soul is yearning for. And only you know that which you must do. And the question is if you're going to listen or not. If you're going to walk your own path, if you're going to trust yourself, if you're going to have self-reliance, or if you're going to follow the crowd and become like the herd. And truly, to be great is to be misunderstood. And if you're misunderstood, you can just use that as a sign. You can use that as a sign that you're doing something right. Not always, but most often. And I think a big problem with people not listening to that thing inside is the fact that nobody comes to terms with the fact that they're going to die. Everyone pushes it off. Nobody really thinks about it. And when you don't allow yourself to constantly dwell on that fact, you live a life so superficial and so shallow because you forget the one thing, the one superpower that humans have, and that is the awareness of their death and the awareness that every moment matters so deeply because every moment may be one's last, and every moment is a moment in the existence of a finitude, each moment is a moment in the life of a being who has a life of finitude, has a life that is diminishing each and every day. So I urge you to listen to your internal guidance system. Listen to your soul. But remember that it is guiding you towards meaning, not money, not fame, nothing other than meaning and purpose. But that is the most meaningful thing you could gain.